Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here for your weekly episodic news show. This is Behind the Mic, and it is Behind the Mic episode number 65. And we're here today, just like always, talking the biggest news in all of the WWE. And this week, we have some very important news to talk about. It's not necessarily the most stacked week whatsoever when it comes to the amount of news, but when it comes to the news that has dropped and the way people in the YouTube and internet wrestling community have reacted to it, we've got a lot to talk about. And the main thing that we have to talk about is all this controversy that has dropped with Smackdown Live moving to Fox, this $1 billion deal, and how everybody has reacted to it with this attitude of, well, WWE is making money, and that's justified their success, when realistically WWE programming has not been in a position whatsoever where it's been anywhere near even decent. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Big changes coming to SmackDown Live. Big news about SmackDown Live and how it's going to be changing going into the future. WWE's pay-per-view schedule and what's going to be going on with that. Pay-per-views now officially moving to 4 hours, which is some big news. We have news on Braun Strowman and how JR, good old Jim Ross, believes that Braun Strowman is the top guy of the WWE, and how this brings up a serious situation that we also need to talk about here on Behind the Mic, and how WWE is miscasting all their talent. We've got news on somebody very special laying out a challenge for the Universal Championship to Brock Lesnar, and news, and this is something that excites the hell out of me because I enjoyed the hell out of this last year. We have news on the Mae Young Classic 2 coming around later this summer, which sounds absolutely fantastic. The Mae Young Classic, whenever I would review it on this channel, did gangbusters last year. I brought a very professional aspect, much more professional than anything else that you're going to see right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Much more choreographed and designed. I took very well detailed notes on everything and everybody in that tournament. Did very well. People responded very well to it, and I thank people for the support last year. And if the Mae Young Classic is indeed coming back, which is pretty much confirmed, WWE scouting talent, bringing old talent back from last year as well, we will be reviewing the Mae Young Classic on this channel once again this year, which is something I'm very excited about. But we have news on early speculation for when the Mae Young Classic is going to air, who's going to be competing on it, and everything else regarding that awesome tournament that we saw last year. Hopefully WWE can replicate that success. So we're going to talk about all that right here on Behind the Mic episode number 65 and so much more. But of course, before we get into that, I just want to tell everybody watching to make sure to go check out all of the content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. And the reason I say that is because there is so much other content to go check out. You just had this past week your Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live review. 2 lengthy reviews on there. We saw possibly one of the worst Monday Night Raws ever with Bobby Lashley chasing around 3 men dressed in drag and Sami Zayn making an absolute fool of himself on Monday Night Raw. That's what television has come to. SmackDown Live wasn't nearly as bad, but then again, comparing apples and oranges right there in terms of quality, because Raw was the worst it's ever been. But SmackDown Live, decent show. We talk about that. Great Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy main event. Make sure to go check it out, as well as Behind the Mic. Make sure to go check out Behind the Mic. Numbers have been slacking for Behind the Mic. Hopefully we can pick that up this week. I know the consistency has been off, but this is 3rd week in a row that we have Behind the Mic going. So the consistency is getting back to where it once was. Hopefully these numbers start picking up. Make sure to go check out Behind the Mic in the previous weeks. Make sure to do that. I definitely urge you to go back and watch the SmackDown Live review as well. Behind the Mic, episode number 64, episode number 63. We actually address some of the issues early on and give you some of the initial reactions before the news has, of course, evolved into what it is now. But we give you some of the early reactions, and I was one of the first people calling out the fact, well, yeah, WWE has this great TV deal with Smackdown Live, $1 billion, but making this much money is only going to make the television product worse. That was my initial reaction. I was saying, well, this is going to make WWE complacent because they're going to be saying, well, we're making as much money as ever. So I was one of the first people calling that out. Make sure to go check all that other content out. And of course, I definitely urge for everybody to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed yet, I do not know what you're waiting for. You get everything regarding the WWE. In my truthful, honest opinion, I am very passionate about what I am watching each and every single week on Mondays, Tuesdays, Sundays, whenever the hell it may be that WWE is putting on content. Whenever I have to sit down and watch it and sit down and review it, I'm always very passionate, and I'm always coming on here and giving you my keen opinion. I think that's worth a subscription. Hopefully you do too. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Make sure to click on that notification bell to get all those notifications straight to your mobile device. And of course, make sure to like this video if you enjoy what you're watching here. Dislike this video if you don't. I like the feedback. And speaking of feedback, one of the best ways you can give me some feedback is going down to the enlightenment box down below, or of course, like it is most commonly referred to, the comment section on YouTube down below. Make sure to leave all your thoughts down there. Anything that uses your brain and is some constructive feedback, I will respond positively to and tell you, well, thanks for the feedback. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we move straight into the first news story on Behind the Mic, episode number 65. So make sure to stay tuned because we're going straight into the news. And we start off here on Behind the Mic, episode number 65, with one of the most essential news stories to be talking about right now on WWE, and it of course has to do with WWE Smackdown Live getting a brand new spanking beautiful television deal for $1 billion. And my main thing about this is, and the main reason I wanted to include this, because we have talked about it on multiple different reviews before. We covered the initial report when the reports and the rumors were coming out. Now it pretty much seems to be all said and done, and all the rumors are picking up on it. But we talked about it very early, whether it was last week on Behind the Mic or the week before. I really can't recall. I think it was last week. Last week. Yeah, it was last week. So we were talking about this very early, and the first thing that multiple people said is, well, look, WWE is doing so well. They're doing so well for themselves. And everybody who doesn't have a brain went on social media and says, well, look, at all the doubters. Look how well WWE is doing. And I'm just sitting here thinking, well, isn't that the stupidest thing I've ever heard? Because if you think about it, this $1 billion television deal, yeah, WWE is successful, and they have great business mentality, and they are doing everything they can to rake in the most dollars, and they're making more money than they ever have before, and good on them. But you, as a fan, me, sitting here as a fan, what position are you in? You're in the position where you have to sit down and watch this television product. WWE is in a position where they have to make this television product. Now, WWE, I think we can all admit, over the past couple years, their television product has been going down and down and down a steeper slope until we've received shows like we saw last week on Monday Night Raw, which were absolutely some of the most abysmal segments I've ever seen. That Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn segment, do not even get me started. Don't. Because I will rant on that all day long, baby. All day goddamn long. But we're gifted segments like that now. I just want you guys to imagine the type of segments we're going to be given when Smackdown Live is making $1 billion and when Monday Night Raw has a USA Network TV deal that's 3 times the amount that they're making now. I just want you to think about the type of television that we're going to be getting. WWE is not going to give a crap about what the fans think. They are going to be saying, well, look at how much money we're making. We're making more money than ever. They already use that excuse now. Those boneheaded idiots who want to say that WWE is making the most money they've ever had and portray that as a valid argument to people who are saying that the product is terrible. They're using that now. Now imagine what they're going to be saying then. This is some of the worst television that we've seen in WWE's history. There's no denying that. And that's why the first thing I thought is that WWE television is going to get worse than where they are. Because right now, nobody gives a goddamn crap about anything that isn't Roman Reigns, that isn't John Cena, that isn't Undertaker, that isn't going into the WrestleMania season. They don't care. They don't care about a Sasha Banks, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. They don't care about a Seth Rollins, a Finn Balor. They don't care. They don't. And it comes across simply as the fact that they're making this money and they're successful despite the fact that they're not pleasing the people watching. And if you can honestly come on here and tell me that what you're seeing each and every single week on Monday Night Raw, that what you saw on Raw last week is worth your time, is worth 3 hours of your time, you've got to be kidding me with that one. You really, really do, because all that we're getting right now is the announcement of these longer pay-per-views and just the most anti-fan things that WWE can possibly do. You just look at who's at the top right now. It's Brock Lesnar. Why isn't a Braun Strowman being given an opportunity? Why isn't a Seth Rollins? Why isn't a Finn Balor being given the opportunity to be at the top of your brand? No, instead at WrestleMania, what do we get? We get Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar main eventing the show. And it's a sad state of affairs. It's a sad state of affairs. At a pay-per-view like Backlash, Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe are put in the main event, and instead of Shinsuke Nakamura and of course, AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. It makes no sense. It does not work. They do not care what you think. And if you think that's displayed now, it's going to be displayed more than ever then. And it's absolutely ridiculous. Let me read you guys this article here. The reason why SmackDown Live is moving to Fridays on Fox. Here it is. SmackDown's move to Fox is going to take some adjustment, and we still have plenty of questions. But one question seldom addressed is why. Friday night seems like an interesting idea, and SmackDown was on Fridays from 2005 to 2015. Anyway, so fans have already experienced a decade of Friday nights with the blue brand. But this happened back when SmackDown was a tape show. With SmackDown Live being a different animal, completely a Friday night move means likely nixing a house show or at least rescheduling them, causing a lot of moving around. But there is an idea Fox could eventually change SmackDown's night again to an easier time to work with if the ratings are outstanding. Well, if it kills, I think there's going to be a good chance of that. Dave Meltzer commented during Wrestling Observer Radio about the possibility of SmackDown finding a better night as Fox as he continued to explain Fox's reasoning for placing SmackDown Live on Friday nights. The reason is they probably felt that Friday is a tough night for television, and Saturday nights they're doing a lot of sports. They do college football on Saturdays. They'd have to preempt wrestling all the time, so Saturday is out. So the idea was to put them on Fox, but put them on a night that's not a big night. I think if you put them on Tuesday, yeah, they would get bigger numbers, but I don't think they would get the numbers bigger numbers than what Fox already has on that station. It was noted Fox already pulls around 3.2 million people on Friday night running a cooking show, so SmackDown will probably do fine. If anything, the popularity of the product will mean better things for all involved. But you never know how popular it could get, and Fox might move it to another night. Let's just hope SmackDown performs in the ratings because they're on a network television now, so a cancellation is always a possibility if the viewers aren't there, and then they might be facing an even tougher time on FS1. So that is the news right there for SmackDown Live. That's the reason it is going to Friday. They don't want to put it on the biggest night of television because, of course, if you do, it's going to be having to compete with something on Fox that might just be putting on better ratings. And that's something that boggles my mind. Why is Fox putting out all this money for this television product, which you gotta admit, WWE isn't in its most popular state right now whatsoever. I'm downright sometimes embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. And after, segments like what we've seen between Bobby Lashley last week, you'd know why. I'm not getting over that for quite some time, so you better get ready for that one. But SmackDown Live moving to Fridays, I absolutely despise that. I absolutely despise that news right there. Friday is a terrible night. Yeah, when I was a kid and SmackDown was on Fridays, I'd come home and I'd be like, yippity-hoo, SmackDown time. And because it's a Friday night, you're getting ready for the weekend, you know, school, you're happy, right? But now, Friday, SmackDown, I want to be something better, doing something better on my Friday night. I want to be recording behind the mic at midnight on my Friday night after getting off and playing Fortnite or Brawlhalla, which is a great game, very underrated. You should go check that one out. Or playing, I don't know, that game's dead anyway, Star Wars Battlefront 2, whatever game you want to throw out there. I want to get off playing PS4 or whatever the console might be, and I want to have some fun on my Friday night. SmackDown Live, it isn't the most riveting, absolutely fun time that I've ever heard of on a Friday night, especially if it's going to be 3 hours like rumored. I don't know, but SmackDown is moving to Fox, but do not get it twisted. This TV deal could hinder WWE more than it helps them as far as fans and audience goes in the long run. That's just my thought on that. For now, we move on here to the next news story, and it has to do with the monster among men. For now, we move on here to this news story having to do with Braun Strowman, and of course, good old JR, Jim Ross, had some things to say about Braun Strowman being the next top star in the WWE, and I absolutely believe that. Add another believer to Team Strowman. The build of Braun Strowman's character has been a hot-button issue ever since WrestleMania 34. Why wasn't Strowman in a bigger angle heading into WrestleMania? Isn't Strowman the most over guy on the roster? Is he being booked in too many comedy spots? Those are all questions I've asked myself and many others over the course of these past couple weeks. But despite what some say, or what some may view Strowman as a holding pattern, veteran of the industry Jim Ross does not see it that way. On his latest episode of the Jim Ross Report podcast, the longtime WWE announcer says he believes the WWE still views the monster among men as one of their top guys. Ross would even go on to say that Strowman could be the guy for the WWE as soon as 2019. This is what JR said. I like the continued advancement of Braun Strowman. He's not being force-fed to me. I think he's going to be the next big thing in 2019. I wouldn't do it before then. I don't think he's quite ready for it. But man, you can see him getting better and better each and every single week. Braun Strowman, in my opinion, the future lead mule in the WWE. If not Braun Strowman, then who will carry the torch for the WWE heading into the next decade and beyond? You know, Braun Strowman, I don't think, you're right, JR is right at the fact that he's not quite ready as far as in-ring goes to be in there each and every single week with the Universal Championship as far as his in-ring ability goes. But Braun Strowman, as far as the entertainment factor, as far as what he's proved to be diverse in the entertainment role, and it is World Wrestling Entertainment. WWE loves that entertainment aspect of everything, and Braun Strowman, as far as that goes, has delivered on all cylinders. And he has the look that Vince McMahon likes. There's no doubt about that one right there. So my question is, what the hell are you doing with Braun Strowman right now? Because it's not even about the fact that Braun Strowman is in a position which he shouldn't be in, which he is. He's in a position he shouldn't be in. He should be in the position of the Universal Championship or contending for the Universal Championship. But ever since coming out of WrestleMania, it's not even about what he did at WrestleMania. It's about what he's done coming out of WrestleMania. Until this past week on Monday Night Raw, all he's done is tag team match with Bobby Lashley of all people, with Roman Reigns of all people. It's been Strowman's in a 10-man tag, Strowman's in a 6-man tag. He's facing Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn alongside Bobby Lashley in a 2-man tag, 2v2. I mean, you got to be kidding me with this. That's not how you book the Monster Among Men. Ever since coming out of WrestleMania, Strowman has lost any semblance of balls in his pants. He won the greatest Royal Rumble. 50-man Royal Rumble. Biggest Royal Rumble ever. Greatest Royal Rumble ever. Like WWE likes to throw it. That's a big accomplishment. He eliminated the most men ever in a Royal Rumble. 13 men. That's a big accomplishment. Yet, how does WWE reward him? How does WWE make sense of all this? They don't have Braun Strowman come out and ask for a Universal Championship shot, which would have made sense, because what do you normally get when you win a Royal Rumble? You get a championship shot at the biggest show of the year. Well, Strowman should have came out and said, you know what? Exactly that. When you win a Royal Rumble, you get a title shot. I'm willing to settle for a little less. I'll take it at any pay-per-view because I could whip Brock Lesnar's ass, and I'm going to prove that. That's what you should have had Braun Strowman come out and say the Monday night after the greatest Royal Rumble. Instead, he decided to come out and help Roman Reigns, of all people, where last year Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman were feuding. No, this year Braun Strowman wants to come out and help Braun Strowman, he wants to come out and help Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns against Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn just to pop the crowd in the UK. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that? What type of booking is that? What type of logic does that have? Why wouldn't Braun Strowman want to go for the gold? Why isn't every member of this roster coming out here and saying, I want that title, that's the top prize, and I want my hands on it? I'll tell you why. Because you have a champion right now on your roster who's not going to be there until SummerSlam, who's not going to be defending that championship. So they don't want to really mention the Universal Championship right now unless it has to do with Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is their golden boy. And that's exactly the out-of-touch mentality that WWE has nowadays, where everything's about Roman Reigns because that's their top guy, and Brock Lesnar because that's their we're paying you $10 million or whatever the hell your deal is. We're paying you $500,000 for every single appearance because he's their golden boy as well. They're not going to mention the Universal Championship. The Universal Championship is going to be just kept to the side. It's going to be kept off television, which doesn't do any good for that title at all. And I'm absolutely sick and tired of seeing Lesnar as the Universal Champion coming out every once in a while and having a terrible matchup with anybody who isn't named AJ Styles. It makes no goddamn sense to me. And this is why you're in the perfect position to give the title to somebody like Braun Strowman. Because everybody's sick and tired of seeing Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion. And everybody's sick and tired of seeing Roman Reigns shoved down our throats repeatedly. But once again, WWE, where they had the perfect opportunity to book something that made sense, to book something that people actually want to see, and have Braun Strowman come out the Monday night after the greatest Royal Rumble and say, you know what? I want that Universal Championship. Pop the crowd. That's how you pop the crowd right there. No, instead of doing something that actually makes sense, they continue to push Golden Boy, the big dog, Roman Reigns. Happy birthday. It was his birthday yesterday, by the way. They continue to push him in the top spot. They don't mention the Universal Championship unless it's coming out of the mouth of Roman Reigns. They want to have Roman Reigns come out here and spit verbiage like, oh, I'm tired of this corporate bull. What corporate bull? Yeah, you know what? I'm tired of the corporate bull because Roman Reigns is the corporate bull. Holy crap, you mean to tell me that 4 years main eventing WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar twice, the Triple H matchup for the WWE Championship where you were coronated as WWE Champion, and a matchup against The Undertaker? That's the corporate bull right there. You mean to tell me being positioned in the main event of a meaningless pay-per-view, I'll give it that, but being positioned in the main event of a pay-per-view against Samoa Joe over the WWE Championship being declared more important than the WWE Championship is corporate bull to you. Getting a free rematch at the Greatest Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar after being savagely beaten at WrestleMania is corporate bull to you. Well, Roman Reigns, if that's corporate bull to you, then I'd love to be dealing with some of that corporate bull. Holy shit, that makes no goddamn sense. It doesn't. Yet Braun Strowman is kept on the sidelines and hasn't had a singles matchup since WrestleMania. This week on Monday Night Raw was his first singles matchup since WrestleMania. And I'll be damned. I will be damned. But it's his first singles matchup since WrestleMania, and what he did with Finn Balor in the middle of that ring in the main event of Monday Night Raw was very, very good. It was some very good television. Those two men delivered. Yet Braun Strowman isn't your top babyface in the WWE. Entertaining as hell. Destructive and a monster when he needs to be, which he hasn't been portrayed as destructive and a monster at all in 2018, or probably since early 2018, probably since the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Strowman has been cut of his balls. He's been booked absolutely terribly. He's been miscast. And same thing with Roman Reigns. He should be the heel. Strowman should be the babyface. Everybody's miscast. It makes no sense. Strowman should be the top guy. Get out of here, Roman. But it's not the case right now. And I don't know, with the way WWE is going, I don't know if it's ever be. That's the report right there. That's the news. For now, we move on here to the next news story. And this next news story is as frustrating as all the rest. It has to do with WWE pay-per-views getting some big changes over the coming months, and it's not a good one. Hot off the heels of the news that WWE is bringing Smackdown Live to Fox in 2019 for a monster $1 billion deal, it appears there could be a lot more changes happening. Rumors are now flying that there will be some major changes happening with pay-per-view events beginning as soon as next month with Money in the Bank. Fans can expect pay-per-views to become a bit longer due to them now being dual-branded, with each one going 4 hours at the very least. While nothing is confirmed at this time, as WWE hasn't said anything, there are all rumors that all pay-per-views are going to become a bit longer. A bit? With pay-per-views now being dual-branded to include talents from both Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Live, it is being said that the time is needed to give more time to big matches. According to PW Insider, WWE needs to accommodate talent from both shows, and that will mean lengthening their pay-per-views. Instead of holding 2 3-hour pay-per-views per month, they will now hold at least 1 4-hour pay-per-view each month. If this does become a reality, it would mean that pay-per-view events would begin at 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific, starting with Money in the Bank. That also means the kickoff show would become at 6 p.m. or would begin at 6 p.m. Eastern for around 5 hours of full-on showtime. This new 4-hour length for most pay-per-views would go into place for almost every show throughout the year, but some may be even longer. Some of the cornerstone events, or the Big Four, will likely run even longer than that and could end up close to 6, or here's the magic number, 7 hours. Speaking of the Big Four, there's talk going around on social media that WWE may be looking to sell the broadcast rights to those events and air them on TV once again. This would take the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series off the WWE Network and have them air on the network, which gives the highest bid. Rumor going around, WWE is considering selling the broadcast rights for their Big Four shows to TV networks instead of airing on the WWE Network. Positive here is that shows couldn't go 5 hours on broadcast TV. Negative is commercial breaks. So what do you think about that? For now, this needs to be taken with a huge grain of salt, as it isn't even much of a rumor right now, and it is just more talk on Twitter. So it had to come from somewhere, and there's the chance it could pick up some steam after the mega deal made between WWE and Fox for Smackdown Live. There appear to be a lot of changes coming to pay-per-view events in the future, and extending the time of the pay-per-views means a lot more wrestling for the fans on a bigger level. So that is the idea behind that. And that sounds absolutely abysmal. Pay-per-view events getting longer is so terrible. It's so terrible. I mean, you think about it, and I understand it because you're now jam-packing both Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Live into one pay-per-view, and you need to get this talent showcase. But even then, if you were putting on 2 3-hour pay-per-views a month, which is not a good system at all. If you were putting on 2 3-hour pay-per-views a month, what you would be getting there is 3 hours for SmackDown, 3 hours for Raw. You're still not only getting 2 hours for SmackDown, if that, and 2 hours for Raw. So even then, you're showcasing less talent, where these dual-branded these single-branded pay-per-views, would have allowed you to get more talent into these shows, talent that rightfully deserves to be featured on these shows. Now somebody like an Andrade Cien Almas, instead of making it onto a Money in the Bank pay-per-view, is probably going to be shafted to the side for somebody else, for a bigger name, for a Randy Orton, for a Jeff Hardy, for this guy, for the next guy. And that really does not benefit this young and upcoming talent that you have from NXT, and getting them over just doesn't help their cause. And that was my original problem with these dual-branded pay-per-views. The single-branded pay-per-views made sense. It gave you a sense of, alright, these brands are competing against each other. SmackDown is putting on Fastlane, while Raw is putting on the Elimination Chamber, and SmackDown is going to try to outdo Monday Night Raw one pay-per-view before WrestleMania. That's the deal there. That is the deal there. Now, the way WWE was handling these single-branded pay-per-views, don't even get me started. Do not even get me started. Because they were booking, and their pay-per-view schedule in 2017 especially was an absolute abysmal mess. And that came in the fact that they had like 19 pay-per-views, or whatever the hell number was. Don't remind me, because I don't care. But they had an absurd amount of pay-per-views in 2017. And they could have easily fiddled that down so that you can still have these single-branded pay-per-views, but so you can have more and a much more exciting variety of dual-branded pay-per-views in there as well. You could have had a Money in the Bank be dual-branded. That makes Money in the Bank special, and it makes sense for Money in the Bank be dual-branded because you want to have both brands getting an opportunity to add that Money in the Bank to their roster, making things more unpredictable to whichever roster that Money in the Bank ultimately ends up in. So that makes things very, very exciting in that way. You could have added a King of the Ring pay-per-view where members of Raw and SmackDown enter this tournament in order to be crowned King of the Ring and become number one contender going into SummerSlam or whatever the hell the pay-per-view might be, and get a chance to challenge for that Universal Championship. The winner of the King of the Ring challenges for the title at the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, SummerSlam. That's fantastic. Why not have that be dual-branded? That's 6 dual-branded pay-per-views along with the big 4. Then you can have 6 single-branded pay-per-views throughout the year. So that's 3 for Raw and 3 for SmackDown. It makes absolute sense. As a matter of fact, screw 3 for Raw and 3 for SmackDown. You could have made Elimination Chamber dual-branded. That makes a lot of sense as well. I mean, there's just a lot of things. A lot of things that you can do to make this pay-per-view schedule more exciting, and WWE, instead of going the more creative route and giving people more opportunity through making these pay-per-views dual-branded and trying to actually figure out what pay-per-views need this status and what pay-per-views don't, WWE just went the easy route. They went the route that's going to pop the casual fans and make things sound more exciting, and each and every single pay-per-view from here on out will be dual-branded with little thought put into anything, and now all pay-per-views are going to have to become 4 hours. And now that's monotonous and that's too much content. That's too much content, and nobody wants to sit through a 4-hour pay-per-view in general when the big 4 pay-per-views come around. Now we're going to have to sit through one of these normal, boring pay-per-views that nobody wants to see, and Extreme Rules, a Clash of Champions, a Battleground, where realistically, who the hell wants to see this? Who the hell wants to see this be a 4-hour pay-per-view? A Hell in a Cell. Who the hell wants to see that be a 4-hour pay-per-view? Why the hell is Hell in a Cell even a pay-per-view to begin with? That's a whole other topic, because that's just a whole pay-per-view based on a gimmick match. But either way, I mean, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Now, a guy like a Ty Dillinger, where before he had a chance to make it onto that single-branded SmackDown Live pay-per-view, now a guy like Ty Dillinger is stuck in a place where, welp, you wanted to get on that pay-per-view, you don't got that chance anymore. You don't got that chance anymore, buddy. Mike Kanellis wants to make it onto that Raw pay-per-view. Yeah, sorry, bro. There's too many Roman Reigns' and John Cena's and Randy Orton's on this show for you to get on. Sorry, buddy. That's the situation that you're playing here. And a pay-per-view is a great place to get spotlight on a talent, and you just gave that up. So that's my thoughts on that. But as far as WWE selling the big 4 to the TV networks, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's the draw right there. You want to have those pay-per-views be bigger than anything else. And, I mean, having those on the WWE network, that's a great draw. But quite frankly, that doesn't need to be the case. And WWE, one of the biggest things when they were starting the WWE network was putting those shows on the network. What are you going to do there? The pay-per-views aren't going to be as big of a draw anymore. They're not going to be open to the biggest wide array of an audience, and you're just completely changing this pay-per-view format that you've had for years. Before the WWE network, it was always, what were the pay-per-view buys for this WWE pay-per-view or the next WWE pay-per-view? And it seems like WWE can be throwing that back into play here. I don't know what the situation is with that. I really don't care. If I'm going to have to pay $60 every month to see a WWE pay-per-view, quite frankly, it's not the worst deal ever. And the WWE Network, that doesn't keep it from being a huge, huge draw that you really want to pay for each and every single week. So I don't know. I don't know about that. But, I mean, WWE Network is going to look a lot less appealing without those big 4 on there. I mean, like, getting all that WWE content all inclusive in one place, that's a great deal. That is a great deal. That's a steal. So I don't know. It's still a steal without it, but I don't know how I'm going to feel. We'll have to see when that time does come, if it does come. But for now, we move on here to the next news story. And we move on here to a news story that, I mean, could be very exciting if this were to ever happen. I don't know. I'd love to see this matchup, and there's no doubt about it. This is one of my favorite superstars in the entirety of WWE right now, who isn't really featured too much on WWE television. I mean, on NXT, he's been featured quite a bit as of late, but this is somebody who I'd love to see featured like more prevalently on Raws and Smackdowns on random occasions, and that is Pete Dunne. That is Pete Dunne, and apparently he has laid down the challenge, whether directly or not, to our current Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is inching awfully close to CM Punk's WWE title record. And by the way, that's so stupid. That is so stupid. Brock Lesnar is holding the Universal Championship. Even if he eclipses CM Punk's title reign by number, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. He's holding a different title. He is holding a different title than CM Punk. So CM Punk's reign as longest WWE champion of the modern era, I don't care what you tell me, it still remains. And that seems to be one of the main reasons that WWE is keeping this title on Brock Lesnar right now, because of the fact that CM Punk had this monstrous title reign and they want Brock Lesnar to eclipse that, which makes no goddamn sense to me. Because Brock Lesnar is holding the Universal Championship. It is a completely different lineage than what we are talking about with the WWE Championship and when CM Punk held the WWE Championship in that monstrous reign from 2012 to 2013 or whatever it was. So that's just my stance on that. I don't care if Brock Lesnar holds the Universal Championship for 600 days, 700 days, 800 days, 1,000 days. It don't matter. He still has not eclipsed CM Punk's WWE title record, because CM Punk is holding the WWE title and Brock Lesnar is holding the Universal title. So I just want all of you to understand that, because WWE seemingly does not understand that, and they're the ones who created the Universal title itself. So I don't know. Maybe you guys need some clarification on that. I do not know, but I just find it so boneheaded that WWE, that's what they're trying to do here. That's what they're trying to do. Like, you're not fooling anybody, bro. You are not fooling anybody. Anyways, continuing on here, Brock Lesnar is inching awfully close to breaking CM Punk's championship record, and it certainly seems as if he's going to do so, since he's not scheduled for a match anytime soon. While the part-time WWE superstar has held the Universal Championship for a long time, there's no shortage of challengers looking to step up and face off against him. Now, the second longest reigning WWE champion in WWE has decided that Lesnar's title is what he should go after next. Pete Dunne is only 24 years old, but he has been training to be a professional wrestler for half of his life. Yes, he began training at the young age of 12, and he has the distinct honor of being the second WWE United Kingdom champion in the history of the company, and he holds the longest reign for that title. The man nicknamed the Bruiserweight has made a true name for himself in professional wrestling, NXT, and WWE. He even has a stable with Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, which is called the British Strong Style, and they're extremely popular with fans around the world. Despite all that he has accomplished, Dunne wants even more. With his long reign with the WWE UK Championship currently coming in second, he's prepared to do the unthinkable and go after Brock Lesnar in the Universal Championship. As of May 24, 2018, Brock Lesnar's title reign with the Universal Championship stood at 416 days, which is not overly short of CM Punk's 434-day record. On that date, Dunne's title reign stood at 368 days, and as reported by Cageside Seats, he wasn't overly thrilled with being in second place. Both men are more than 150 days ahead of the next longest title holder, AJ Styles, but Dunne wants to be at the top of the list. So here's the list right here. Longest active WWE Championship reigns to date. We have 416 days at Brock Lesnar with the Universal Championship. We have 368 days with Pete Dunne for the United Kingdom Championship. We have 197 days with AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. And we have 154 days with the Undisputed Era down in NXT with the NXT Tag Team Championships. So Pete Dunne tweeted out, "Gonna have to win the WWE Universal title." And that's certainly an interesting tweet. Yes, Pete Dunne has sort of thrown out a challenge to Brock Lesnar for the WWE Universal Championship. Of course, this is something that will likely never happen, but it is sure fun to think about. Wrestling fans around the world would honestly love to see this, as it would not only be a fresh matchup, but the hits and violence would be absolutely brutal. Right now, Pete Dunne is preparing to face off against whichever superstar wins the upcoming WWE United Kingdom Championship tournament. Brock Lesnar, well, there are not currently any known plans for him at all, as he's missing in action yet again. The two very long title reigns are the best in the company right now, and a bout between the two superstars would be a dream match, but it's hard to believe it will ever take place. This is just something I found very interesting. I mean, just thinking about the style of Pete Dunne clashing with the style of Brock Lesnar. Pete Dunne is very brutal in the ring. The things he does is very amazing, sleek. Everything he does is perfectly executed. Pete Dunne is one of the best wrestlers in the WWE right now. I'd actually put him alongside AJ Styles. I'd put him along AJ Styles as far as wrestling technique goes. And this is something very interesting. I mean, as far as Pete Dunne goes, I'd love to see him not just go into a matchup against Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, but regularly on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to take this United Kingdom Championship off of his hands, and the tournament is coming up, which I will be reviewing on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, so no fear, everybody. It will be reviewed here, the upcoming United Kingdom Championship tournament, to determine who will be the number one contender for Pete Dunne's United Kingdom Championship. This guy has a fantastic look, brutal. Love how he holds the title with his teeth. Everything he does is just amazing, and he's playing that babyface role down in NXT perfectly right now. He still keeps his pompous, I don't give a crap who you are attitude, but he is the good guy in the storyline against Roderick Strong in the Undisputed Era, and hopefully he can come up to Monday Night Raw once again. He faced Enzo Amore last year in the UK when they did the UK trip. They had the UK trip again this year. I don't know where the hell Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate were, but I don't know. I'd love to see Pete Dunne versus Brock Lesnar. Fortunately, that doesn't seem like anything we'll ever see, but I mean, it would be absolutely fantastic. There's no doubt about that. And the Bruiserweight definitely has the charisma and the ability to win the Universal Championship. At least, much more than Roman Reigns. I'll leave it at that. We move on here. And we move on here to talking about something that is no doubt about it. Some exciting news here. It is the Mae Young Classic. And the Mae Young Classic is coming back. Ladies and gentlemen, last year we saw some great matches in that tournament. The introduction of some great new women to the WWE. Of course, we saw the likes of Kairi Sane, Bianca Belair, Toni Storm, who was fantastic in the tournament as well. And, of course, some made their debuts on WWE television and are still here on NXT, and some on Smackdown Live and on Monday Night Raw. Of course, you see Sarah Logan each and every single week. Oh, she's terrible. She came from the Mae Young Classic. She actually wasn't bad in the Mae Young Classic, if you go back and watch. On Monday Night Raw, I mean, I don't know about that, but of course, you also see the inclusion of Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler. Those were the two finalists, and they're both prominently being featured on NXT television right now. So the Mae Young Classic has had a big role on women's television, especially down in NXT right now. But Mae Young Classic 2 is coming around, and WWE is certainly searching for 32 of the next best women's competitors around the world. This year's WWE Mae Young Classic will film in Winter Park, Florida on August 7th and 8th, according to Brian Alvarez and Mike Semperev of Wrestling Observer Live. Last year saw the company take 4 rounds of action, from the round of 32 to the semifinals. Across 2 nights at Full Sail University, the shows were then released in batches on August 28th and September 4th, with the live final airing on the network 6 days later. Though WWE announced the second Mae Young Classic during this year's Hall of Fame show, they are yet to confirm the taping dates themselves, so it's best to apply a touch of cynicism here. A couple of big-name participants have also been teased by both the Observer and noted Performance Center insider Casey Michael of Squared Circle Sirens. The first is 22-year-old making her return, Toni Storm. I love that announcement right there, who reached last year's semifinals and has been strongly linked with a full-time WWE contract in recent weeks. If these sources are to be believed, she'll be joined by a name that I've never heard, Shirai, I don't know how to pronounce that at all, don't blame me, a Japanese wonderkind who has a WWE offer rescinded following a failed medical test last May, but was widely believed to be the company's original choice to win the first Mae Young Classic. So she was going to go over Kairi Sane last year, and Kairi Sane was the big name coming in last year from Japan. Everybody was speculating her to win the tournament, and there she was. She did beat Shayna Baszler. It was her, Shayna Baszler, and Kairi Sane, lo and behold, she made her way, and she won the Mae Young Classic. Still has yet to win championship gold down in NXT. Of course, Shayna Baszler, the up-and-comer, she is an up-and-comer, but the second place is now your NXT Women's Champion. So just goes to show you where those two positions lied right there. But that is besides the point, because I mean, this is going to be a very good tournament. It's going to be interesting to see how many women that were in the tournament last year WWE is going to throw in there again, because a lot of those women did resign. It's going to be interesting to see how similar it is going to be this year. I think we can see some great matches in this tournament once again, and we can see some great new women being given the limelight and the spotlight. I mean, Candice LeRae, she came from the Mae Young Classic as well. There she is alongside Johnny Gargano in the biggest storyline on NXT television right now. She just fought Zelina Vega. I mean, you can see some great things. Some great things each and every single week on the Mae Young Classic, and I can't wait to review it. August 6th and August 7th will be the dates of filming. It's going to be interesting to see. Maybe they'll let Jessamine Duke and Maria, what's her name? Maria, I don't know her name. Roderick Strong's wife. That's what I know her as. I forgot the full name there, but maybe they'll have them participate in the Mae Young Classic, and maybe they'll be the Shayna Baszlers of this year's Mae Young Classic. Maybe it will come to a point where they're both in the tournament and they have to face each other. That's just some early speculation right there. That'd be interesting. It'd definitely give you another reason to put Ronda Rousey in the crowd again this year. And Shayna Baszler, I guess, would be in the crowd again. Maybe Shayna Baszler will be competing in the tournament itself, or the tournament will be for a #1 contendership to face the NXT champion. I mean, that's exactly what happened last year. Kairi Sane, she NXT TakeOver Toronto, was it? She got a spot in a Fatal 4-Way at NXT TakeOver Toronto after winning the Mae Young Classic, and of course she got the beautiful trophy and all that good stuff. Anyways, I love the presentation of the Mae Young Classic last year. Only thing that was a little off was commentary, because of course you had Lita on there who has no commentating experience, and she was never going to be the best, and JR was getting up there in years. But everything else, I mean, it was really great. You saw these women advance and putting on better matches as the tournament went on, and you saw some great matches between the likes of Toni Storm and Kairi Sane. That was a great matchup. And what my personal best matchup was of that entire tournament was the breakout and the standout of that tournament, in my eyes, Bianca Belair against Kairi Sane. That was an absolutely fantastic matchup, and Bianca Belair, especially for somebody who only had 1 year of wrestling experience, really just went in and she put on a fantastic matchup. And that really proved her to be a great women's athlete. But go back and watch the tournament if you haven't caught it. There was some very good stuff in that tournament. Piper Niven, another standout. I'm forgetting that. Santana Garrett. There you go. That's the name. All those women haven't signed with the WWE. I think Piper Niven has, but she hasn't really been showcased. But Santana Garrett, another one who, like, really, there's some great stuff that you have there. And I'd love to see these women come back. And this time around, especially Toni Storm, who was absolutely fantastic, and she has the look, no doubt about that. I'd love to see them all sign, because there was some great stuff to witness. There was a great amount of exposure to women that we've never heard of before. And I just love the tournament. I love the tournament. It's a great way to get people over and get people exposed, and I'm loving that WWE is yearly doing this throughout the summer months and stuff like that. We're going to see the UK tournament just upcoming. I believe it's one of these days in June, and of course we're going to see the, of course, Mae Young Classic 2 come around. It's been announced at the Hall of Fame, so I mean, great stuff up and coming on WWE television, especially if it's being run by Triple H. But Raw and Smackdown, that's a completely other story. For now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on here to the closing segments of Behind the Mic. For now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all right here on Behind the Mic, episode number 65. I hope you enjoyed each and every single thing that you've heard on this edition of Behind the Mic, because, of course, I want to tell you guys to make sure to go check out all of the content. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy what you're hearing here. Of course, make sure to comment what you thought about each and every single story that you heard here. What do you think of the Mae Young Classic 2? What do you think of Braun Strowman being the guy instead of Roman Reigns? What do you think about SmackDown Live going to Fox and moving to Fridays instead of keeping its current slot on Tuesdays? All very interesting stuff right here on Behind the Mic, episode number 65. Make sure to tell me it all. And of course, make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel if you have not subscribed yet. I have no idea what you are waiting for. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Make sure to put that subscribe button through a table. Make sure to throw that subscribe button off a ladder. Make sure to grab that Money in the Bank briefcase and hit that subscribe button smack square in the middle of the face, right on the nose. Because of course, for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all. For now, this has been Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. And for now, I am out of here. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you all next time right here on Ringside Wrestling.